Yes.
Yeah, and how about some other things, and particularly more somber was the loss of Kobe Bryant earlier in the year before the pandemic. And it was going to easily be the worst thing that happened in sports in 2020 at the time.
Yeah.
Back in January, believe it or not. So almost a full year has gone by since his tragic death in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, him, his daughter, and another family.
Right.
I mean, we had a couple other things, man.
Segue.
I mean, we had March Madness. That the dance ended before it even started, man. That was like the peak of when everything was starting to happen, when NBA canceled, NHL canceled, MLB pushed back, and NCAA was like, nope, we're pushing through, we're doing this. And like 2 days later, like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah, never mind. It was kind of like a domino effect. It was just every day. And I remember getting texts from you just, well, they're not playing college basketball anymore, or hockey's saying they're done for the year. Like, it was just, in every day was a new sport and an announcement that sports weren't happening. And that was really bringing things then to a reality that this was more than just the abstract news headline that we were seeing from abroad.
Yeah. I mean, when NBA fell, I think NBA may have been the first like major sport. Hockey followed suit very quickly. MLB followed shortly after that. And then, it was NCAA college basketball. But we did have a super exciting thing return, but then it left because COVID.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, sports, of course, are businesses, and that was, I guess, no more exposed than with the experience of the XFL. Yeah, that's what you're getting at. It came back full force, especially around in the St. Louis area. That city embraced it. You were a season ticket holder.
Yeah, it was an experience like nothing else. I mean, St. Louis in particular, along with Seattle markets, were clearly leading and well outperforming what they had expected. If I remember correctly, I think the DC market was doing okay with expectations. Some of the other markets did not do well. I know Tampa did very poor.
Florida sports, man, finicky.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa's probably not the best place for that.
It's a tough market.
Better.
Yeah.
LA did not do well. I don't think New York team did very well as far as like drawing in fans outside of that first week. But
regardless, though, the XFL, when they had to stop, they didn't come back.
No.
That was the only sport that didn't.
Yeah, it was the only sport that didn't. But then over the summer and early fall, we learned that Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, he purchased, along with his ex-wife, I believe, purchased the XFL. And all accounts point to them returning at some point in the future. I think targeting a 2022 start. So 2022 winter. So about a year from now.
So basically, we pulled the rug on the current cast of athletes, and we're going to have probably a very brand new start.
Maybe same coaching staffs, I'm not sure, but it looks like at least the same teams, because they retained all of that intellectual property. So they came,
which is good, because there was a lot of branding that went through all that. I mean, to go through, and
it sounds like they may be moving some teams as well too, and taking this as an opportunity to relocate. Like Tampa, just
because
very poor.
Yeah, they at least got through most of the season. It wasn't a complete season, but
they got through 5 games of it, 5 weeks of 8.
Yeah.
So I mean, they got through more than half of it.
Yeah, I recall, though, we even talked about this in a couple of episodes, that it was kind of going to be, at least in my opinion, a big joke. Like the first go at XFL, I gave it, we were looking at the over-under on 2 years. I said it wouldn't last past 2 years. So that's, jury's still out.
Yeah,
we're going to see when it comes back and what happens.
That's what I was thinking. Is like, we should probably count if they come back as the same incarnation, especially if it's the same teams.
Right.
And see how they do. But if they move a couple of markets, I think this can be super successful. Take a page out of AAF, when the American Alliance of Football, that also did very poor. Yeah. But San Antonio was a really strong market, so maybe consider putting a team there. Houston also did really well. So
all right.
Maybe move that Dallas team.
For sports in general, that always require spectators. I guess it doesn't require, but always comes with that component, that fan experience. That's what really drives sports, right? This is a different kind of year where a lot of games were played and people had to do it from a remote location or just a very limited capacity. What's your take on the way the NFL approached it, and then like how the NHL and NBA, which is very different, where there was no spectators, but putting them on big video boards and you're seeing people streaming from home? And I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah, I thought the NBA had a really, really cool setup for what they had, especially just how big the NBA court is. It's, pretty small comparatively speaking to, an MLB stadium, football, hockey, whatever. And I thought that was really, really cool. They had the fans in the back. It looked like they were in seats and being able to interact, which was kind of cool. The NHL, I actually thought, had the best overall look and feel to it. They had the fans and everything there as well, too, but they used a little bit more of the arena, not just a full backdrop. And I thought that was a pretty neat kind of look to it as well. And it looked very clean, looked very, very professionally done. Not that the NBA didn't. MLB did a horrendous job. Theirs was atrocious.
With the cardboard?
I didn't mind the cardboard cutouts, but it literally felt like a second-rate production.
It was just like, oh, yeah, we got to think about this.
Yeah.
We're going to do something.
And the NFL kind of had the option to actually put some fans in some of the stands.
Yeah.
It almost would have just been better if they just left it.
Right. It is a strange look, especially when it is funny, though. You can tell when you watch NFL games if there are real people in the stands or not. The
or the cardboards. Like Philly's still doing the cardboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can hear in the audio, the crowd noise. When it's a canned recording of crowd noise, it feels artificial. You hear the fakeness of it. Yeah. It's interesting. And it's something I wouldn't have noticed had you not gotten that comparison, though.
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting thing. So I wonder if that really takes effect. I know originally you hear some interviews of players saying, yeah, it's weird being out here and there's no one here. I think they've probably gotten used to it by now. And the quality of the games really haven't seemed to shift.
No, the quality of games, in particular with NFL, I think have been...
If anything, you're seeing more offense, which is exactly what the league wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah, I think there's have been some spectacular games and performances on on an individual level.
Last night's game was amazing.
You're referring to Raiders Chargers, going to
that
OT.
Was an awesome game.
It was a good game, very good game.
It was super fun. Went to overtime and Chargers went down and scored a game-winning touchdown on the one. It's awesome.
Let's get into. I think that pretty well covers most of 2020. Yeah. Except for my favorite moment, I got to talk about this, and it really
sex
is
dolls in Korea.
That was a good one. I like that. I mean, I'm proud of. Yeah. Who was that? Was that the Dynamos or?
Are you asking me about a Korean baseball team?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
You were watching them.
No.
You can't tell me you weren't watching some Korean baseball when it came out.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
You showed it to me.
You should look up, though, also the trophy they give out for that league.
It's not a sex doll, too, is
No,
it?
it's awesome. It's a giant sword, out of a video game. It's amazing.
That's very...
Yeah, you have to look it up.
It's very South Pacific.
Oh, yeah, but it's like 3 or 4 feet long. It's huge. Okay, so but I digress. My favorite moment was Phillip Rivers a few weeks back.
Oh, it was
making
great.
his on a pick six that he made. Or no, that was a fumble because Taylor dropped the ball, picked up.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, in his proud self, thinks he's going to get involved in this play, falls, and tries to make this pathetic arm tackle.
It's the most 2020
If you forgot,
thing in sports.
it was a very 2020 moment. I'm very I'm going to keep that one in my memory for a while. As just a
flailing arm tackle.
Yeah,
so
that's right up there with that bowling champion who was
Pete
yelling
Weber?
out.
Who do you think?
Yeah, who do you think you are? I am. Yeah, and his wife's in the
Weber.
background shaking her head. Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites. But this one goes up there. It's just like, yeah, I needed that. I needed to see that moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about for a Who You Got in this final Season 3 episode for a first-time champion in 2021. Will we see one? I think so. But maybe who will it be? On an individual level? Maybe a team?
Okay,
Eric,
that's
you got
what I was
something that
gonna
comes
ask.
to mind? Yeah, it can be anybody.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks. Just signed that max deal to stay there. I'm going Giannis. It's going to be a first-time champion this year.
I like that one. All right.
On a team level, it's a lot harder. Because there's so many teams that have, sports have been around forever.
Yeah.
You would have to pick a team like like the Tampa Bay Rays that have been a couple times
Still
but never
haven't
won.
Right.
You couldn't pick teams that have been around forever.
If they've never won, it is a hard one to take.
But I mean, you look at the NFL and like teams that have never won a championship. Yeah, they're definitely not going to win it this year or next. But like Jacksonville, Houston, these are all relatively newer franchises, still a couple decades old, but Cleveland Browns would probably have the best opportunity, but I don't think they're going to win this year. I think they're the only
Well, now do they count for 20? I would argue that that's the 2020 season.
Okay.
So I mean, moving into the 21, 20, and so that actually takes my kind of bold prediction. I'm going to elevate the Browns just one more step because they are surprising this year.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say I'm a fan of them, but
they got rid of OBJ and they have turned into the team that they should be.
A team that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real thing that we could see as far as a team that never has had a championship. It's certainly not going to be Eric in fantasy, that's for sure. I just got to put that one in there. For some people who listen to this, know what I'm talking about. The league that you commission. I'm glad that you keep it honest, though, and you never give yourself the title. I appreciate that.
I'm trying to.
All right. Happen. What else are we doing? We're going to cover the top 25 at the current standings for football in college and college basketball. And Eric, we're going to do this quick, hot. The last lightning clap of 2020. Here comes. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump into it then. I'm going to go with football, and I'm going to go from the bottom to the top because we know who the top players are, but those are the ones we want to hear about.
Yeah.
So San Jose State coming in at number 25, previously unranked. NC State, number 24, previously unranked. Buffalo moves up a spot to number 23. Liberty stays the same at 22. Texas moves up a couple spots to 21 from 23. Tulsa moves down a couple spots to number 20. Miami, Florida moves down a bunch. They're the big mover down as they got absolutely crushed this past week. Number 19. Iowa, number 18. Louisiana, number 17. North Carolina, number 16. Northwestern, 15. BYU out there in the Utah State, the Utes. Not the Utes, but that's Utah.
Something like that.
It's a fun name.
Yeah, you'll get there.
BYU, number 14. Southern Cal, 13. Oklahoma, 12. Florida, 11. Now we crack into the top 10 here. Up a couple spots from number 12 to number 10, Georgia. Coastal Carolina, a Sunbelt team. Who would have thought? Number 9, up a couple spots from 11. Iowa State, number 8. Indiana, number 7. Cincinnati is number 6, up a spot. Texas A&M, top 5 here. They are 7-1 at the 5th spot. Clemson, 9-1, number 4. 3, Ohio State is 5-0. Notre Dame is 10-0 at number 2. And, of course, with every single first place vote this week, coming in at number 1, hashtag Roll Tide, Alabama, 10-0.
Sure thing. I mean, and why shouldn't they? Notre Dame, Alabama, going to be top 2. Absolutely. Still undefeated. Strong teams. But, Eric, in your opinion, in that top 4, I mean, what are the chances that any of those schools are not going out? Because we're seeing that teams are not going out for bowl games, or they're just packing it in for the rest of the season. What's the chance that we see any kind of particular shakeup for the top 4? They all play.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
It will happen,
barring some kind of COVID outbreak in the team. Okay.
Because we are going to get into this in the best games to watch.
There we go.
There is a matchup within the top 4 for a championship game.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing. Okay. Hot minute going to college basketball at number 25. These rankings were announced on December 14th. Michigan is at 25. Clemson at 24. Previously unranked. Louisville is at 23. North Carolina at 22. Duke at 21. Ohio State sitting at the 20 spot. Rutgers at 19. 18th place in the standing is San Diego State. 17 going to Virginia. And new to the list, Missouri, undefeated at 16, Florida State at 15, Texas Tech at 14. You have Illinois at 13, Wisconsin at 12, and Texas at 11. Tennessee only played 2 games, but they are sitting at 10. Creighton is at 9, West Virginia at 8, and Villanova at 7. 6th spot goes to Houston, and then in the top 5, you have Kansas, Michigan State at 4, Iowa at 3, and Baylor at number 2, with the top team only at 3-0 is Gonzaga.
That was quick, Ty.
Yeah, that was lightning right there, buddy.
Super fast.
That's how you do that.
Yeah.
All right,
man. So best games to watch.
Oh, is that time already?
It's that time, man.
All
Let's
right.
do it. So we got Chiefs and Saints are going on this weekend. Then we also have the Rams, Seahawks. Those are the two best NFL matchups that I had. So the 20th is going to be Chiefs and Saints. Actually.